Hello boys, welcome to the again new lecture of industrial fluid power. Boys, you remember in last lecture we started with the actuators, and in actuator we finish the linear actuators, or we can say the hydraulic cylinders. Now on your screen you can see one of the hydraulic actuator, which is double acting hydraulic cylinder. It is shown here. So this double acting hydraulic cylinder is having the two ends. One is known as the base or cap end, and another one is known as the this end, which is known as the head end, right? Now what happens when we use this double acting hydraulic cylinder? In this double acting hydraulic cylinder there is one problem, that when the oil will come from this inlet port and it will go here, the piston will start movement into the forward direction, and as the pump is continuously running and it is delivering the high pressure hydraulic oil with a designated flow of the oil, the speed of the piston will be constant throughout its stroke length. And there is a possibility that when the oil will flow through this port, so when this piston will move into the forward direction, at this end, means at the end of the stroke, there is a possibility that this piston may strike to this end. Striking of the piston will take place, and it may damage the hydraulic cylinder. Same case will happen when the oil will flow through this port, right, and the piston will start moving into this direction, opposite direction. Then also what will happen when the piston will move into this direction, the speed of the piston will remain constant because the flow of the oil and the pressure of the oil coming to the cylinder is same. So the piston speed will remain same, and at this end also there is a possibility that this piston may strike to the cap or the end of the cylinder, and there is a possibility of damage to the cylinder. Now what happens for avoiding this? So when at the end of the stroke on both sides, that on the forward side as well as on the reverse side of the piston should not strike to the ends of the cylinder, and at the ends of the cylinder the speed of the piston should get slow, means the piston should get slow, so that when the motion of the piston will get somewhat slower at the end of the stroke, it will not strike to the ends of the cylinder. And for this purpose there is one arrangement is provided in double acting hydraulic cylinder. And what is that arrangement? Then we will see that arrangement which is provided for avoiding the striking of the hydraulic cylinder to the, or I can say the striking of the piston to the ends of the hydraulic cylinder at the end of the stroke is known as, you can see here, the cushioning of cylinder. Means some cushioning arrangement is provided in double acting hydraulic cylinder, and due to this cushioning arrangement, what happens at the end of the stroke, the speed of the piston get reduced, and due to this reduced speed of the piston, so it moves very slowly at the end of the stroke, and it will not strike suddenly, or the impact will not take place on the sides of the hydraulic cylinder. So that arrangement what we do into the double acting hydraulic cylinder is known as cushioning of cylinders. Okay, now what happens here? What is the cushioning of cylinder? When cylinders reach the end of their stroke, means when the hydraulic cylinders or when the piston reach their end or the stroke end, the pressure rises quickly, creating a shock wave in the hydraulic circuit and also causes mechanical impact between piston and end cap. So whatever the end cap are provided on the cylinder, due to this what happens, there are the chances of the impact that piston will get strike on the end cap, right? And therefore what we have to do, there is one simple arrangement we have to do. We have to slow the speed of the piston at the end of the stroke. To slow an action and prevent shock at the end of a piston stroke, some actuating cylinders are constructed with a cushioning device at either both ends of a cylinder. Means the cushioning can be done on both ends of the cylinder or in some cases on the one end of the cylinder, but it is always better that you provide the cushioning on the both ends of the cylinders, so that at the both ends the striking of the piston will not take place to the end cap of the cylinder. So this is simple arrangement which is known as the cushioning of the hydraulic cylinder. And why cushioning of the hydraulic cylinder is done? You understand? The cushioning of the hydraulic cylinder is done to avoid the impact of the piston on the end cap, because due to the high pressure hydraulic oil, so the speed of the piston will remain constant and there is a possibility that it will strike to the end of the or end cap of the cylinder. To avoid this, we do make an arrangement so that the piston speed at the end of the stroke will be somewhat slower and the striking action will not take place. That arrangement what we do, it is known as the cushioning of the cylinder. This cushion is usually a metering device built into a cylinder to restrict the flow at an outlet port, thereby slowing down the motion of the piston. And in cushioning, what actually we are doing, we are providing one, what you can say, the small wall. So when the piston comes to the one end, that the motion of the piston is taking place inside the cylinder. So from other end what happens, the oil is going to the reservoir. So oil goes to the reservoir. Now when that wall is completely open, or I can say the outlet port is completely open, 100% open, so 100% oil will simply move to the reservoir. But if I restrict that flow which is coming outward, so if I restrict that flow, what will happen? There will be resistance to the flow, and as there will be the resistance to the flow, automatically the speed of the piston will get reduced. And therefore it is said that the cushion is usually a metering device built into a cylinder to restrict the flow at an outlet port, thereby slowing down the motion of the piston. How it works actually I will show you now. So you can see here one end of the hydraulic cylinder is shown. So this is one end. You can see here, this is one end of the hydraulic cylinder is shown here, one end. Here will be the another end. So what arrangement is done at this end? So you can see this part is known as the piston, and at the end of the piston, right, this is generally used in the double acting cylinder, and in this case one sleeve is used. So you can see at the piston one sleeve is attached. So this is the spear or the sleeve is attached, and same cavity is done here in the cylinder end plate. So here is the cavity. Now what happens when the oil is coming from this end and the piston is moving into the forward direction or in this direction, at the end what happens, this sleeve get inserted into this slot. So here is the slot is provided, right, and as this get inserted into this slot, so the oil should flow. So oil will flowing through these walls that are provided. So this is the one needle wall is provided. So and there is one spring wall is also provided here, right. So in this arrangement what is done, one sleeve is used to decrease the speed of the piston at the end of the stroke where the piston is about to hit the end cap. So in this case, one you can see here this spear or the sleeve is used. How that is used? Now what happens when the piston moves into the forward direction? So suppose this piston is moving into the forward direction. The deceleration in the piston start when the spear sleeve enters the opening of the end cap. So here you can see this is the opening is provided into the end cap, and when piston moves in this direction, this sleeve enters into this end cap. So this end cap, you can see here the sleeve is entering into the end cap. So when this sleeve enters into the end cap, the oil, whatever the oil is here, that oil get trapped between the piston and the end cap. So here, suppose this is the oil is there, here is also oil is there. So this oil will get trapped between this valve and this piston. Now as this oil get trapped, so this oil will not move freely. So what will happen? There will be the resistance to the flow and the speed of the piston will get decreased, right? A small adjustable opening is provided in the end cap to allow the remaining oil to discharge slowly through it. And here you can see, here the small arrangement is provided, very small arrangement, and from this very small arrangement the oil is going to the reservoir. So through this the oil will go to the, through this red part, you can see this red path is shown by the arrow. Through this path the oil will go to the reservoir. So what will happen now? As the amount of opening provided for oil flow is very less, so it is reduced. So the flow of the oil to the reservoir will be restricted, and due to that what happen? Automatically the speed of the piston will get restricted, and hence this arrangement we can call, it is known as the cushioning arrangement, right? But when the oil will flow, suppose from this end, now the intake is taking place. At the time of the intake, what happens? Due to this oil pressure, this wall also get lifted and this wall also get lifted, and from this end and from this end the maximum amount of oil will go to the piston side and it will push into the forward direction. When the oil is entering into the cylinder through this port, there will be no restriction, so the inlet will be as usual. But when the oil will leave to the cylinder, at that case there is one small wall is provided, and through this wall the oil will flow and it will cause the restriction to the oil flow, or it will create resistance to the oil flow. Due to that the speed of the piston will get reduced, and this arrangement is known as the cushioning of the hydraulic cylinder. Now you can see the cushioning is provided at one end. It can be on the other end also. If you want to avoid the impact on other end also, on other end also same type of arrangement can be provided, and this arrangement is known as the cushioning of the hydraulic cylinder. I think you understand the cushioning of the hydraulic cylinder. Okay boys. Okay, now the second part that we want to learn about the hydraulic cylinder is known as the cylinder mounting. Mounting means what? If suppose I purchase a hydraulic cylinder from the market, now that hydraulic cylinder I want to fit or the fix onto the machine, or I want to fix on some the part, or I want to fix on some platform. So for fixing that hydraulic cylinder to the machine or on some platform, some special arrangement is provided, and that arrangement is known as the cylinder mounting. You can see cylinder mounting. So what? A basic cylinder has no mounts. So users typically specify the necessary mounting type and hardware when purchasing a cylinder. Means when I want to purchase the hydraulic cylinder, while purchasing the hydraulic cylinder, I have to mention what type of the mounting arrangement I want to that hydraulic cylinder, right? Because where I want to fix that hydraulic cylinder, how I want to fix that hydraulic cylinder, how I want to make the machine with the hydraulic cylinder, what will be the position of hydraulic cylinder, which end of the hydraulic cylinder has to be fixed permanently. For this there can be the different amount of the arrangement of the hydraulic cylinder. So exactly how you want to mount the hydraulic cylinder on the machine, according to that you have to mention what type of the mounting you want for a hydraulic cylinder. Generally when we talk about the cylinder mounting, there are three general styles include cylinder mounting. There are three basic types of the cylinder mounting. Number one, fixed mounts that absorb force along the center line of the cylinder. Some mountings are fixed mountings which will absorb the force along the center line of the cylinder. Second type is known as fixed mounts that do not absorb force along the center line. So this is also the fixed mounting, but this will not absorb the force along the center line. Number third is the pivot mount, means some pivot, you know the pivot point. So the cylinder can rotate about that pivot point. So pivot mounts that drive a load in a curved path, right? So there are the three types of the cylinder mounting. Now we'll see one by one. So what is the cylinder mounting? So first type of the cylinder mounting is known as the flange mounts. Means the cylinders are has the mounting of flange type. So you can see this is the red part is shown here. So this red is nothing but it is the one special flange is connected to the cylinder end cap. So this is the one flange is provided at one end, and this flange is having this, what you can see these holes are there. Through this hole the nut and bolt are provided, and with the help of the nut and bolt this cylinder can be mounted to the desired location. So here the flange can be provided here. So there can be the different type of the flanges. So depending upon the size of the flange, so the mountings can change. So here you can see first one is the rectangular flange. So the cross section area of the flange is rectangular. Your flange means you have to see this red part provided to the cylinder end. So this is rectangular flange. You can see here in another figure this is square flange. So here you can see this is the square flange is there. In diagram number 2 you can see this is the square flange is there. So cross section area is square. And these are attached to the ends of the hydraulic cylinder. So in this case the flange is attached to the only one end of the hydraulic cylinder, right? So in some other cases the flange mounting can be provided on the another end. So here you can see this is a rectangular mounting. First mounting was provided on this, what you can say, the rod end. Now the flange is provided on the cap end. So here you can see this is the cap end mounting is there. Red is the mounting. Here also this is the square mounting is provided, and here also it is the one type of the big mounting is provided here, right? So these are the mountings. Now the mountings can be provided on the one end of the cylinder, or it can be provided on the both ends of the cylinder. So from this end also the mounting can be there. So this type of the mounting is known as the flange mounting. One additional flange is attached to the cylinder, and with the help of this flange, whatever the holes are provided there, in holes the nut and bolts are provided, and the cylinder is connected to the desired type of the machine. Another type of the mounting is known as cylinder mounting, right? In cylinder mounting, another one type is known as the tie rod mountings. Tie rod means what? There are the, you can see here in this figure, there are the two ends of the hydraulic cylinder. So this end is known as the rod end, this end is known as the, what you can say, the cap end. So this is the cap end and this is rod end. So this cap end and rod end are provided with the help of this rod. So you can see this is one rod, this is second rod, this is third rod, and here will be also fourth rod. So these are the rods are provided here, and these rods are known as the tie rods. So these are known as the tie rods, and these tie rods are extended to attach to a cylinder to the machine. So here you can see the tie rods are extended from this side. So here are the tie rods are extended. With the help of these tie rods, this cylinder can be mounted to the different location or the different parts of the machine. So here are the tie rods are provided, and there are the different arrangements of the tie rods are shown. Alright. So what are the arrangement? Tie rod mounts are extended tie rods to attach the cylinder to a machine. They include a rod extended at both ends. Means these rods are extended on the both end, at the rod end as well as on the cap end, and they can be mounted from this side, they can be mounted from this side. And MX2, in this category what happens, the tie rods are extended on the cap end side. So on only this side the tie rods are extended. From here you can see they are blocked here, and in this case they are extended on the in this side you can see they are extended on the rod end side. So these are known as the three types. Tie rod is extended on both sides, tie rod extended on the cap end sides, and tie rod extended on the rod end side. So these are the another one type of the mounting which is known as the tie rod mounting. So we have seen two. One is the mounting with the help of the flange. Second, the mounting with the help of the tie rods. So you can see the mounting with the help of the tie rods. Right. So what is the problem with the help of the tie rods? When the cylinders are having the mounting of tie rod, they provide centerline support, but they are less rigid than flange mounting and often require additional support for long stroke applications. So these tie rods are 100% provide the centerline support, but they are not as rigid as flange mountings. Understand? And therefore they require some additional support if the stroke length of the cylinder is very high or the large amount of the stroke length. The third type of the mounting is known as the lug mounting. So third type of the mounting is known as the lug mounting. Lug means what? Some metal parts, rectangular metal taps or the metal parts are provided. Small, you can see here, these are the red are the lugs are there. This is one lug, this is another one lug, this is also lug, this is also lug, this is also lug, this is also lug. So these are the lugs are there. So what are the lugs? Lugs are nothing but they are the rectangular small machine parts, and they are welded to the cylinder body or the cylinder block. And to this lug, the cylinder, with the help of this lug, the cylinder is mounted on the machine. So the small part, instead of providing the full flange, one small metal particles are provided. They are having the hole, and through that hole the nut and bolt can be inserted and they can be tied to any desired type of the position. So this is another one type of the mounting which is known as the lug mounting. Understand? There are the three types of the lugs are provided. So first type, this can be center line lug. So the lugs are provided at the center from both ends. At the center the lugs are provided. So from here the cylinder can be mounted. This is known as the foot side lugs. So the lugs are mounted at the bottom of the hydraulic cylinder, and therefore as they are mounted at the bottom, lugs are welded at the bottom, they are known as the foot side lug. And this is known as the end lug, means the lugs are mounted on the ends, on the rod end side and on the cap end side the lugs are mounted. So here two lugs are there, and on this opposite side also there will be the two lugs. So these are the cylinders mounted with the help of these lugs. So lug mounting is there. And another one mounting is known as Clevis mount. Right? So what is the Clevis mount? Clevis mount is there are the two type of the Clevis mount is there. One is the fixed Clevis. So this part you can say this is the fixed. It is permanently fitted to the hydraulic cylinder, and this is the detachable, so removable. So this part can be removed. So this Clevis can be removed. Are common mounting options, especially in applications where the cylinder must pivot through an arc as it extend and retract, such as with an excavator boom. So where this Clevis mounting is provided, you can see as this Clevis mounting is there. So here you can pivot the cylinder. When you insert the rod from this end, the cylinder can be pivoted at any position or at any angular position, right? And therefore when there is a position is that you want to mount the cylinder at some angular position, or you want to pivot the cylinder, this Clevis mounting is provided, right? So this is known as the Clevis mounting is there. Another one mounting type is known as the trunnion mount. So fourth type of the mounting is known as the trunnion mount. So what is the trunnion mount? There are the three types of the trunnion mounts are there. This is the trunnion is there. It means that the rod are provided at the rod end. This is the center line, or it is known as the intermediate trunnion, and this is the cap trunnion, means the trunnion is provided here. So there are the two extended rod end are provided here, and these are known as the trunnion mounting. When the cylinder is mounted with the help of this trunnion, the cylinder can have the movement, angular movement. So it can have the angular movement. So it can move. The cylinder can move in a angular position, and this is nothing but it is simple, like a pivot point is there. So you can pivot the cylinder, and the cylinder can have some angular movement while retracting or while extending. It can have the angular movement. So this is known as the trunnion mounting. So I hope we have finished today the two parts, important parts. The one is known as the cushioning of the hydraulic cylinder, and another one is known as the mounting of the hydraulic cylinder. In mounting, we have seen flange mounting is there. Then after flange mounting, we have seen the tie rod mounting. After that, we have seen the lug mounting. Then we have seen the clevis mounting, and fourth we have seen the trunnion mounting. And in cushioning, we have seen how the cushioning is done. So by restricting the outward flow of the oil, the speed of the piston can be reduced, so that the impact of the piston on the cylinder end will be reduced. So today's lecture, this is somewhat, and hence we finished the hydraulic actuator. Understand? Now up till now we have finished the linear hydraulic actuators. Now boys, after finishing the linear actuator or the hydraulic cylinder, now we will see that the rotary actuators. So there are, as there are the linear actuators, there are also the rotary actuators, and these hydraulic rotary actuators commercially known as hydraulic motor. Why they are known as the hydraulic motor? Because this actuator will create which type of motion? You may see the linear actuator will create the reciprocating or the to and fro motion. So definitely rotary actuator will create which type of motion? Yes, of course it will create the rotary motion, and as it will create the rotary motion like electrical motor, they are known as the hydraulic motors. So what is the hydraulic motors? Hydraulic motors provide rotational motion. So they will provide the rotational motion. Hydraulic motor converts hydraulic energy possessed by the pressurized oil into rotary mechanical energy used in many industrial applications. Now suppose up till now whatever the hydraulic circuits we have seen, in all that hydraulic circuit, what we have done, we have operated the actuators, and generally we have actuated which type of actuator? Linear actuators. The to and fro motion of the hydraulic cylinder we have provided. But in some cases, in some machineries, when you are using the hydraulic circuit, in that case you want to create the rotary motion, means the output should be the rotary motion. So when the output is to be rotary, then actuator use must be the hydraulic motor. And for creating the rotary motion with the help of the hydraulic circuit, we use the rotary actuator, right? These rotary actuators are not different than hydraulic pumps. So whatever the hydraulic pump we have seen, you know that we have seen the positive displacement hydraulic pump. There are the rotary hydraulic pump and the linear hydraulic pump. In that case, we have seen the gear pump is there, internal gear pump we have seen, external gear pump is there, gear rotor hydraulic pump we have seen. We have also seen the vane pump we have also seen, right? And we have also seen the rotary or the linear hydraulic pumps are there. Inline hydraulic pump, that bent axis hydraulic pump, right? So whatever the construction is there of hydraulic pump, you will find the same construction of the hydraulic motor. Only the flow of the oil will change, right? And as the flow of the oil will change, that hydraulic pump which was rotated with the help of the high pressurized oil, now you will give the rotary motion to you, and when it give rotary motion, it is called as hydraulic motor, right? So what was happening in the hydraulic pump? Let us see. In hydraulic pump, the rotation of the fluid is done by rotary element connected to the electrical motor. In hydraulic pump, what we are doing? We are rotating that hydraulic pump with the help of the electrical motor. Alright. And in hydraulic motor, the rotating element, that whatever the type of the hydraulic motor is there, if the hydraulic motor is vane type, gear type, or the piston type hydraulic motor is there, all these rotary elements are pushed or rotated with the help of the pressurized oil, which will give you the continuous rotary motion of the shaft. So output will be the rotary motion of the shaft. And how this output will generated? This output is generated with the help of the flow of the high pressurized oil going into the hydraulic motor. Understand? Okay. Now, hydraulic motors are classified on the basis of construction. So here is the classification of hydraulic motor. First, gear motor, similar to gear pump. As you have seen the gear pump, there are three types of the gear pump. We have seen internal gear pump, external gear pump, and the gear rotor pump. Same type, the hydraulic motors are also classified like a gear pump. So there is a gear motor. Then there is a vane motor. So we have also seen vane pump. Here also there is a vane motor. Then Schwaz plate piston motor. We have seen the Schwaz plate in the inline axial piston pump and bent axial piston pump. We have seen the Schwaz plate. So here also Schwaz plate piston motor, bent axis piston motor, and radial piston motor. So whatever the type of the hydraulic pump are there, same types are there in case of the hydraulic motor. Gear motor is there, vane motor is there, Schwaz plate piston motor is there, bent axis piston motor is there, and radial piston motor is there. Okay boys, now we will see the construction and working of a gear motor. So it is the gear motor used in the hydraulic cylinder. So you can see here, this is the construction of a gear motor. So what is the construction? The outer part, you can say it is the housing is there. So this is the housing part is provided here. This housing part is provided with the two ports. So there are the two ports. This is the inlet port and this is the outlet port. So this is inlet port, this is the outlet port, and here the two gears are provided here. So two gears. So this is gear number 1 and this is now gear number 2. They are mounted on the shafts, right? And they are meshing to each other externally. Now what happens when in hydraulic circuit, this is actuator now, actually hydraulic motor. Now this is the actuator. So this will be at the end. So when the pressurized oil from the direction control valve will come through this inlet port. So from here, the high pressure oil will come. As this high pressure oil comes here, it will rotate this gear, one gear. It will rotate to one gear, and this one gear will rotate to the another gear, and you will get the output as a rotary motion. And then the oil will leave to the reservoir. Through this port, the oil will again come through the direction control valve. It will go to the reservoir. So what is the construction part here? You can see here construction. Similar gear pump, the motor is having two meshing gears, housing and two cover plates. The gears are mounted on two shafts and rotary motion is obtained from one shaft. And the working is there. When pressurized oil enters from bottom port, the entire chamber is pressurized. The force of oil exerts pressure on teeth of two gears, which causes imbalance of forces on the two gears, which in turn result in rotation of the gears. The low pressure oil or used oil goes out to the upper port, and through this upper port it will go to the reservoir. So through direction control valve it will go to the reservoir. I hope it is very simple, right? So here from here the pressurized oil will come here, it will create pressure here. Due to that pressure, what will happen? Both the gears will rotate and you will get the rotary motion on the one shaft, and this is known as the hydraulic motor, and it is known as the external gear motor. Understand? The working of the internal gear motor will be also same. The gears will be only meshing what you can say, the internally, but the construction and working part will be similar. So from one port the high pressure oil will come, that high pressure oil will rotate to one gear, and that one gear will rotate to the another gear, and due to that what happened, you will get the rotary motion, and therefore these are known as the rotary actuators. Understand? Now there is another one type of the hydraulic motor that we have to study, which is known as unbalanced vane type motor. We have seen in case of the vane pump, we have seen two types of the vane pump. One was known as the balanced vane pump, and another one known was the unbalanced vane pump. So here we'll see one type of the hydraulic motor which is known as the unbalanced vane type hydraulic motor. So you can see here construction part here, and if you remember, if you look this diagram, it will similarly look like a vane pump, right? So what is happening here, what is the construction part is there? So there are the two ports are provided. This is the inlet port is, and this is outlet port. So this is the outlet port, right? And this is the outer casing is provided there. This casing is having the two port, inlet port and outlet port. Then there is a central rotor is provided here. All right. So this rotor is having the slots, and in these slots the vanes are provided. So these are the vanes are provided here, and here will be the spring will be there. As you know that there will be the spring will be there, and these vanes will be always pressed against this spring force. And this central rotate is not concentric with the housing, it is eccentric, it is offset by some distance, and that's why only it will rotate. So this is the construction part. This is the slots are provided. In these slots the vanes are provided. These vanes are fixed against the spring, and there is one central cam ring is provided. So this is the central cam ring is provided. All the vanes are sliding against this cam ring. So you can here say this slotted rotor, this is the slot is there, and these are the vanes are provided here. You can see here construction. Now how this works, how this unbalanced vane motor, sorry, this is vane motor, how this unbalanced vane motor works. Now what happens when the high pressure oil comes through this port, inlet port? So from where this oil will come? This oil will come from direction control valve, and if suppose you have provided the flow control valve, then through flow control valve the high pressurized oil will come. That oil will get trapped into this two vanes and the casing. As the oil get trapped, the pressure will go on increasing, because the continuous flow of the oil will come from here. As the pressure increases here, it will push to this part, and as it push into this direction, you will get the rotary motion of the rotor. This rotor will get rotary motion. Here no electrical motor is provided here. Please remember that electrical motor is provided in the vane pump, and what we are seeing here, it is the vane motor, vane hydraulic motor. So when it is motor, its output is rotary motion. And how the rotary motion will get output? High pressurized oil will come here. That high pressurized oil will get trapped between the two vanes and the casing and the cam ring. As the pressure increases, it will push this vane into the forward direction, and as it push this vane into the forward direction, it will move into this direction, and the rotary motion will take place, and this slotted rotor will rotate, and to this shaft the output is taken. Then whatever the use oil is there, this use oil through this outlet port will go to the reservoir through the direction control valve, or if you have provided the flow control valve, through the flow control valve the oil will go to the reservoir. So this is the vane, unbalanced vane hydraulic motor. Understand? Okay. Now the third type we have to see, axial piston motor. So that is the axial piston motor. So what will happen in case of the axial piston motor? If you see the diagram, you will see the diagram is similar like a axial piston pump. So there is the You can see here, there is a cylinder is there. Cylinder is having the bore. In this bore, the pistons will be mounted, and these pistons will rest against the swash plate, right? So what happens when, now this is the diagram. So these are the cylinders, bores are there, pistons are inserted in the bore, the pistons are mounted against the swash plate. So this is the swash plate, and this is the output shaft is there. So this shaft will give you to the rotary motion. There are the shoe plates are provided here, then cylinder block is there, and this is the side view of the, what you can say, the plate. So here is the one plate will be provided here. This plate, cylindrical plate, will look like, so here will be the inlet port, this part will be the inlet port, and this part will be the outlet port. So this is fixed here, right? So what happens when high pressurized oil will come into the cylinder? So when the high pressurized oil will come, so that oil will push the piston into the forward direction, and as the piston will pull into the forward direction, what will happen? It will rest against the swash plate, and the complete cylinder will rotate. So this complete cylinder will rotate. So here you can see the working. The swash plate is making an angle theta. So this swash plate is making an angle with the axis of the shaft, with main shaft axis as shown. When pressurized oil comes in, so when through this port the oil will come inside the cylinder, its act on piston in front of inlet port, pushing the piston out of the piston bore. So when the oil will come through this port, so what will happen? It will push the piston out outward, and due to this outward motion, what will happen? This movement causes the piston shoe to slide across the swash plate surface. So this piston shoe will slide across the swash plate surface. As the piston shoe slides on swash plate, it is able to develop the torque. So here the torque will get developed, and due to this torque, whatever the shaft is attached to this cylinder bore, this complete assembly will start rotating. So there will be the rotary action will take place, and hence the swash plate action piston motor will work. So you understand. And same thing happen in case of the bent axis axial piston motor. So here also you can see same thing will happen. When the piston will come through this inlet port, what will happen? Oil will come through this inlet port. It will push the piston into this forward direction. Due to this, what happen? This plate will get induce the torque, and as it will get induced the torque, this shaft will get the rotary motion. So this is known as the bent axis axial piston hydraulic motor. So these are, and this is the radial action piston motor, correct? Like this. Another one type of the actuator we have to see, that is known as the limited rotary actuator. Limited rotary actuator means what? As in case of this all type of the rotary actuators, so that is the gear rotary actuator, or the vane rotary actuator, or the axial piston rotary actuator, or the bent axis piston rotary actuator, we are getting complete rotary action, 360-degree rotation we are getting. But in some cases we don't want complete rotation, we want some degrees of rotation, only few degrees of rotation. For that purpose we are using one hydraulic actuator which is known as limited rotary actuator. And what is happening in case of the limited rotary actuator? In case of limited rotary actuator, the hydraulic motor is not completely turned through 360-degree, but it is rotated with some degrees of rotation, not 360-degree, less than 360-degree, and therefore it is known as limited rotary actuator. So you can see here, this is the one example of limited rotary actuator. So these are the two cylinders are there. When the oil will come through these cylinders, so what will happen? This cylinder, the rack is provided here. So suppose the oil is coming from this AN. So as the oil will come through this AN, this piston will move into the forward direction. This rack will get rotated, and as this rack will rotate, this pinion will get rotation by some degree, and this will be our output. So this rotation of pinion will be our output, but here the pinion will not rotate one full degree, it will rotate by some degrees. Let's say 60 degree, 80 degree, or 90 degree, or 110 degree, but not 360 degree, right? Now if suppose we want to rotate in opposite direction, what you have to do? The oil will come through this cylinder number 2, and when the oil will come through this, it will push this rack into the reverse direction, and this pinion will rotate into the opposite direction. But again, it will not rotate through 360 degree, it will rotate by some degree, and therefore it is known as limited rotary actuators, right? So this all type of the rotary actuators now we have finished, which are known as the hydraulic motors. Finish? Okay, thank you. Now how these hydraulic motors are shown by the symbolically. So this is the symbol of hydraulic motor. So you can see, so it is a similar type of the pump. As it is hydraulic, the triangle is filled, but the direction of triangle is inward. The oil is coming inside. So from the direction oil will come, and this is the output shaft. Here no motor is shown here. So only this shaft. At this shaft you will get the rotary motion, and the triangle is filled triangle, and the direction is inward, means it is unidirectional hydraulic motor. It means that the oil will flow from one direction, and this hydraulic motor will rotate only in one direction, either in clockwise or in anti-clockwise direction. Now this is the symbol for bidirectional hydraulic motor. You can see the two triangles are shown here, filled triangles. Why this is filled? Because it is hydraulic motor, right? So oil can flow from this direction also, the oil can flow from this direction also, and this hydraulic motor can rotate in both the direction, clockwise as well as anti-clockwise. Now this is the third symbol of hydraulic motor, which is symbol of limited rotation hydraulic motor. Means here you can see the complete circle is not shown, only half circle is shown, right? And this is the output. It means that this hydraulic motor will not give you the 360 degree complete rotation. It will give you the rotation by some degree of the angle, and this is the symbol used for limited rotation hydraulic motor. Okay.